welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space, and today I want to have a look at packaging and how we can turn this into a very simple journal, a mini journal, a very thin one but almost like a notebook. I've got one here which is similar to what I'm talking about, just using the packaging and how we can use this to then be something we can decorate and give us an idea of how to do the binding and to wrap it in fabric on a very, very small scale and learn at our own pace that way. So here I've got a cracker box. I'm going to jump straight into this and show you. Want to cut out the panels down here. So what you're going to need is a cracker box. I'm going to try and use a square of fabric. I've got a 12 by 12. This came from a layer cake. If anyone's familiar with quilting squares, the large 12 by 12 inch quilting squares is ideal if you've got a leftover one. This is how you could use one of those. But for anybody else, you're not going to want the 12 inches as such, but you're only going to want probably an inch less than that. So and I'm going to probably struggle with width here, so maybe a wee bit more. I'll give you more on the measurements as we go through the video as that comes up. And you may want another contrasting fabric if you haven't got enough length in your first piece. I'm going to show you how that doesn't matter. I'll show you how we'll do the spine and do something a bit different there as well. Okay, so a metal ruler is useful. Scissors or a craft knife. I think I might use a craft knife, but you could equally just cut this because we're going to follow the lines that's given here by the box. So I'm just going to cut that now. I'm coming just inside of the creased raised bit because I don't really want that. And I'm pushing my knife against the metal edge there so that we cut it off like that. And I'm just going to go round the other three sides, doing the same thing, coming inside the groove of the folded up flap, just so that we lose those pieces. A bit like that is quite useful to hang on to, but don't go hoarding. You will find you have a lot of packaging and you have an endless supply, so you don't need to hoard things. You can maybe get a bag of a few bits, and then once you've filled that bag, don't add to it. Take it from me. These bits are useful, having said that, as tabs if you get little flaps like that, so they could be. I mean, everything's useful, isn't it? If you start looking at it, you can find use for everything, but you can't hang on to it. You just can't, otherwise your house will be not working for you. It'll be working against you, and you won't remember, like me, where anything is. I've got a little idea to do something with these another time, so I've got to hang on to those. And I'm just throwing things. I've got a bin behind here, which I then take through to be recycled, and I want to just bring this one back. That was the bit that was in there because I'm going to use a little bit of that as the spine. So just snip that off and work out. I'm going to, what have I got here? I only really want about a centimetre or half an inch. Let's measure that up here. I'm just going to take off that ridged edge. And I'm just going to take that. I'm even going to just pop the paperweight there to stop it moving too much. And I'm going to get a length of, now will I have, no I won't, so I'm just going to go over on that side, ever so slightly, a few millimetres, and I'm just overlapping at the top so I do come over, and then I'm just running this tape. This is a brown packaging tape, it's an eco tape if you're searching for it. I'll leave a link below and then you can have a look and see. what it is I'm talking about, and I find this extremely useful. It's got a lot of strength in it, and it's something that will compost down, so I'm not adding any more plastic to the environment, which is becoming a more and more important thing to do. Certainly a message I want to put out there as I'm doing these crafts. We can use up the plastic we're receiving, but I just, you know, trying to putting plastic into my projects, I really am trying to limit that. Just sticking that down there and cutting it off here. Okay. Right, there we have that. So this is it's going to be a little journal like this. This is different to the one I showed you because we've got quite a good spine on it. So I'm going to have it like that with this as the inside, because I don't want the marketing on the outside, because I don't want it shining through my fabric. If there are elements of the fabric where the colour is lighter, such as the white, I've got this. I've chosen this because it's quite sunshiny and bright. You can just see the marketing lettering coming through, so we're just going to have this as the outside. So it goes like that. And I'm just going to orientate the fabric round to where I want that to go. What is going to be the front? Let's have a little decision here. I think that, and you just need a little bit to fold over. So I'm just drawing a line down there to help me as a guide. Did I get that right? Yes, I did. Yeah, that's plenty. So that's all we've done so far, is just link those two panels from an old cracker box together. And now we're measuring out the fabric, and it doesn't need to be exact. We're just cutting on the line, and this is the project. So it's coming together quite nicely. Glue it. And we're using Fabri-tac, which is a fabric glue. And for this I'm going to have to use some sort of spatula here, just to make sure I don't have a big lump of it, because that will soak into my fabric and it will create a darker patch on the fabric. And whilst I'm happy to be a bit cavalier and slapdash about most things, for a booklet or a journal I don't really want to see the fabric glue having seeped through the cotton to the other side. Now I've also got a limited time frame to get that glued down before the glue dries, so I'm working as quickly as I can with a childhood spreader like a school, getting rid of any bits that have come off here. And it is already drying, but I have to just make sure I don't get a big globule. So I'm just quickly smoothing that out, and it'll be tacky enough just to hold the fabric, see, and my finger, and then pick it back up, put it down again, check it's the right way. Yes, it is. And then down it goes. It's best to go down tacky and not soaking wet, so that it just does a nice stick on rather than the glue seeping through. Smooth that out, go and fold up. We can be a bit more professional and just make sure that's it. Right, next job is to bring in the sides. So we just glue, and it doesn't matter as much on here because you're going to be largely covering it up with a piece of card inside. So I'm turning in my corners and just sticking them down. Very straightforward, simple little craft here. So just covering card from the rubbish bin, and then we just check we've got enough glue, and then you bend it forwards. Oh, that didn't work. Try again. That's it. And then as you do that, you get this natural turning in happening here. So we go again, and then you can just pull it up. And I think it's warmer today, so this is drying quite quickly. And I'm going to put a bit on the edges. I could do that here as well. As you push the fabric down and flip it over on itself, you create this natural mitre, just sort of happens on the corner, a mitered corner. If you've heard that in the sewing world, then it is just going to do that for you here. And again, lovely. So this is just going to be for me. It's just a little something that makes me feel happy, because I love these bright colours, and I was feeling a bit gloomy this morning, probably because the weather was gloomy, and that often affects my mood. The ability to not go out. Oh, can't see either. What's happening? There we go. Just didn't feel like I wanted to go out. So I've got my cardigan back on again. We're just going to let that set, and on my other one I have got some book corners which I put on just really as an embellishment, but I'll show you inside. I've put some decorative papers here and I've pushed on the corners, and I also just made a feature of the inside with some lace, and I've done it there as well. And it largely depends on, you know, how it looks and how it turns out to how I decorate it. I have got some corners. I was saying that I did get them out. We'll find them in a minute because they've disappeared again. I thought I had everything to hand, but then when you get going you realise things get moved. So I was going to show you that we could have another fabric, but if you haven't got enough fabric, or you're a bit short and you can't get the length just to pull that over, you can either cut a slither off of your card to make it all work and fit, or you cut another piece of fabric, which I'm not going to do now because I've changed my mind. I quite like it all the way around. You could, what am I doing? No. You could just glue down another bit there and have a two-toned effect where you go around like that. So I think we'll do that on another project. And then you could link the two up with a piece of lace, which is another little look or an extra embellishment that you can do. And I will show you here what I mean if I've got one. Here we go. So this is how I've done it here, where I've put the lace down to hide the join on front and back, and put a beaded spine. So that's another thing. Okay, this is also a great project to use up any 12 by 12 paper pad card bits that you have. I've got quite a few and I never know what to do with them, and I bought them when I first started getting into junk journaling and paper craft and things like that, because I suppose a lot of people were getting rid of them because they didn't know what to do with them and using them in the junk journaling, which meant that I went and bought new and then realised I actually didn't want them. So here we are with lots of pads, but you can get them from the works. And having said that, I have used these on a couple of occasions that have been really useful. So they are an inexpensive one, and you just pick the style that speaks to you. So what have we got here? We've got quite a fun summery colour, and the pale pink is beautiful. Or the darker pink, which I think I've used before in another project. So I think I might go for the pale. Ooh, that's very snazzy. Oh, how about that? Okay, so I've chosen these two and I've just put the two together, and I'm having a look here now. I'm going to measure from here to here and cut down so that I'm just covering the panel, leaving this bit free for the time being. So I'm just going to mark that by holding it, remove that, and then I know roughly, just double check, measure twice. So I'm going from that line there, this line here, to this line here, which I'm going to put my ruler on. Where was it? Number 7, down to number 7, and I'm just going to get my cutting knife, and I'm going through 2 thicknesses of card, so I might have to go again. Just keep the pressure on. Oh, that did it. Yeah, that did it. Roughly speaking, that should be about right. This is just a little jolly project, just trying to cheer us up. So it did want a fraction more now looking at that. Okay, so I've cut my 2 side panels, and now I'm just going to have another bit in here, and that's purely just to give it a little extra strength. And then what I'll probably do is cover it over with a strip of fabric or some ribbon, and I'm just giving a rough idea of how big that is. Craft knife again and see where it needs to be. That's going to be great. Then they will go like that, and that is the inside pretty much sorted. I'm going to glue the whole lot down using Fabri-tac again, and we just come round, glue through the middle and down the sides. And then we're just liberally put a glue there, and then put that in. And that's got a bit of glue there, but it will peel off. That was my mistake, because I must have had some on there. There we are. So far so good. And then the next thing to do is, if you can get hold of some corner, I'll try and leave a link for these so that you can find them. I'm using copper ones. Come in a little pack like that. I get about 25 or 50, and they're inexpensive, but they do just finish it off, give it a nice little look. Could have gone for silver as well. And they often come in the dark antique brass. I've got these ones, tiddly tinies. I don't know where the box is of these, but these are for smaller projects. They're lovely actually. That would have been nice if I've got those. I'm not sure I like the copper, but it's just a bit different. That was all. And so I've put the little light on here now, because I'm starting to lose the light. And they're larger, and I do love them. They're very nice. Very plain. They're actually quite a lot bigger, but they would squash on okay. So that was the option there. But I think I've fallen in love with these. I've got used to them now, so I think I am going to go with those after all. They're a better fit, and although they don't capture in that bit there, that's fine. It isn't, you know, I'm not selling it. It's just for me. It's just to cheer me up, really. So we just picked the glue off at the front. Oh, the other thing I found was this ribbon, and I just thought I'd put it down there and there. So I'm going to put one there. It doesn't really go, but I just like it. It's fun. So I'm going to bring in. I'm going to cut that there, and then. So this still has a vintage feel, but it has a kitsch sort of fun 1940s, 1950s feel to it maybe. Glue at the top. glue in the middle, and then same on that side. And anything with the Fabri-tac that comes out the sides is fine, because you can just go over with I've got one of these erasers for glue. This one come up a bit further there. Got some children outside playing, making noises. And we'll just leave that to dry flat like that, and then whilst that's doing that, we'll come back to these. I need 4, so I'm going to go right the way round, and I just glue the edge right on the top and come over, and can go a little bit on here as well, so you can see the shape of them. They look like a letter A, don't they? And then just fix that on there so that the glue can do the work. Same again on this side. So this is a very rough way of putting a quick project together, just to feel like you've achieved something, and that you've chosen. Make sure you choose some fabrics or some papers, because this could be paper as well, doesn't have to be fabric, but just you know, fabric that makes you, uplifts you. Or perhaps you've grown out of a top and that was really annoying and you really loved it, or you've got a rip or a stain or something that was your favourite. Use that, use the fabric, cut it up, make a book out of it. You can still love the fabric, you can still enjoy the memory of it, but now it's a fun journal where you will keep fun things noted down here: plans, dreams, holiday plans, weekend plans, what you might be wanting to take away for a little trip to go and see a friend. Let's keep things light-hearted and nice. There we go. So those are all squashed on, and then the glue holds them, and they're in place. And these are rubber, what are they called? Not resin, but I'll leave a link. I'll find what they are and I'll leave a link below. They're not very expensive, but they just cover the pliers so that you don't mark your metal as you squash, you don't scratch. Okay, so it's not going to win any awards, but we've made a little cover for our booklet, so I'm going to show you how to do the insides. And from here, because this isn't very thick, we can now have pockets which will strengthen the project some more. So there we go, we're going to leave it at that, and next time we will look at how to put pockets in the front and the back, and to sew in the inserts into our cover. So go away and make one of these, and then we can craft along together, putting the insides in, and end up with a really lovely piece. And we can all maybe decorate the front, and we can do some sewing, sew the binding in to have an exposed binding there, and that will be a mini journal complete on our beginner's guide to how to do this. And just make it up as we go along, can't we? It doesn't matter that I've looked at all the book binding methods, and you know, whatever, doing my own thing, breaking the rules and having a go. Okay guys, well I hope you found value here. Please do have a look at the links below, and if you'd like to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, I've got a Facebook group called the Treasured Page FB group. You're very welcome to join. We have lots of swaps and we're having a load of fun there. That would be great to see you and get to know you further. Leave a comment below so that I know that these videos are actually worthwhile to you, and that you're enjoying them, and what you're enjoying about them, and what you would like me to show you, and anything like that. I'm not making any money, I'm not selling anything, I am just enjoying myself and having a go. I'm paying it forward because of the wonderful women that have already inspired me through some difficult times when we were all in lockdown, I definitely wanted to make sure that I offered that for others as well. So that's why I'm here. I'm having a wonderful time, and I'd love to see you all back at the next part of this, where we make it into our mini journal and really enjoy the process of it all. Okay guys, so slow down, and above all else, make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.